With that, let me please invite on stage Mr. Suresh Sethi, Managing Director and CEO, Protean eGov Technologies Limited, Shri Amitabh Nag, CEO, Bhashini Digital India Bhashini Division, Shri Abhishek Singh, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and Mr. T. Koshy, Managing Director and CEO, Open Networkfor Digital Commerce. Warm welcome, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about pushing global frontiers. So let's also push ourselves with a round of applause for our amazing, amazing speakers. The reason is we'll take that energy forward and we'll take the insights from our speakers. Let's do that. And thank you so much to our leaders. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And with that, over to you, sir.
So good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon to my distinguished panelists. It's the session right after lunch. I know some people are still outside, but good to have you here. We have a very interesting topic. As you know, that a lot of discussion during the Global Fintech Fest has focused on the area of digital public infrastructure. Yesterday, we also saw a lot of discussion around DPIs, or rather also on the first day. So we wanted to pick up on the topic of IndiaStack and just seeing where we are, and we are pushing now global frontiers. India's work during G20 presidency and the fact that IndiaStack was again showcased and taken as a very key area of development going forward in India's contribution to the global south, I think it merits a conversation. It's always good to talk about what India has achieved, and it's equally important to say what are the next frontiers for us. So with that, I've got a very esteemed panel with me, people who have contributed from their respective offices in the creation of this digital public infrastructure, and we'll just have a conversation around it. So I'm putting in perspective the fact that the government has been talking now for long about having 17 national level open digital ecosystems. So we are going well beyond fintech. Our work in the area of ID, in the area of payments, in the area of data has all been there, but now we are looking at a multi-sectoral approach. And a study done by Omidyar and BCG actually spoke about the fact that we can, if we get our other DPIs in place and done rightly, we can have an impact of almost $700 billion by 2030. This will mean creation of new value of almost $500 billion, plus another 200 coming as savings to the country. As we all know, our DBT program brought us significant savings in terms of getting money to the last mile into the hands of the beneficiary. So here we are talking about the fact that we have today digital identities, we have Aadhaar, we have PAN, we are talking about digital transactions, what I do once I have the identity in place, and we are talking about payments, trade, commerce, Koshy sitting right here. And then we are talking about digital assets. There has been conversation around tokenization. We heard about Finternet being spoken about by Nandan in a session a couple of days ago. So we are talking about money, digital assets, transaction records. So I would first like to turn to Mr. Abhishek Singh. The data layer of IndiaStack has been there. DigiLocker is today an amazing example of data repository with almost 312 million registered users and 7.76 billion records, which is what the data we've got, which is digitally issued and sitting there. We would like to hear from you about your perspective as to how now this data repository be leveraged to really give power to the data DPI in the country, and how does it play a role when we talk about data tokenization, exchange of data across various sectors. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Suresh. And you rightly said with regard to impact we have made with the IndiaStack, with the various components of IndiaStack, and we have been hearing about it. Honorable Prime Minister mentioned a great detail. So instead of going into that, one should now think of what next. Now that we have built the core building blocks of Aadhaar, of UPI, of DigiLocker, how we can use it to build services that can help all Indians move up to the economic ladder. So to that extent, DigiLocker, with its ability to provide verifiable credentials, plays a big role. Because in any financial decision, when we have to give microfinance, a credit, or insurance, or any other financial product, a very important component of it is to verify who the person is, the KYC as we call it, plus also verify his financial strength, and on the basis of it take a decision with regard to lending, with regard to credit. To that extent, what DigiLocker does is that with the array of documents which are part of DigiLocker, it includes not only Aadhaar and PAN and driving licenses and educational records and health records, but it also includes now financial records, your bank statements, your 26AS, your income tax statement, all those have become a part of the DigiLocker. So if anyone is able to verify it digitally and ensure that whatever documents are coming to a financial institution are authentic, are electronically verifiable, then the time taken to make a decision with regard to offering credit becomes easier. So DigiLocker has a huge potential to enable that. One simple example that we are working on, especially with the Ministry of Rural Development, is that we all know that there is a scheme called Manrega, under which we give wage employment to millions of people, and in that, under law, they are guaranteed an income of 300 or 400 rupees, depending on the state, per day for 100 days in a year. So they get almost 30 to 40,000 rupees of guaranteed income by law, but unfortunately, they do not have a Form 16, or they do not have a proof of that income that they have. So the ledger that they have with regard to money going directly in the bank accounts, if that becomes like an electronically verifiable document on the DigiLocker, then anybody wanting to give him a micro loan of 5,000 bucks or 10,000 bucks can do that based on that. And the amount of value that will be unlocked by such kind of lending will be huge. So that's the potential of DigiLocker. And similarly, if you scale it up to other financial documents, the GST records, to your cash flows, so all of it can result in a huge financial services ecosystem. And what Nandan spoke day before yesterday with regard to tokenization of all these documents, and DigiLocker can be one of the service providers to the account aggregator framework and to the tokenization system to bring in this whole revolution of Finternet, as was called.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Singh. Koshy, turning to you, we talked about this fact, what I do. And I think ONDC is now getting into multiple areas, right? How we move from point to point. We are talking transport and mobility. How do we buy and sell? And I know that you're also looking at, providing finance on an open finance structure on ONDC. We are likewise looking at other things like education and skilling, somewhere getting leverage from an open network. Now, on one side is the documentation, but the second side over here also is the penetration, the need for having an open network with almost 80% MSMEs in India still today outside the formal credit ecosystem. The fact that when we look at digital commerce, the penetration is not more than 5 to 6%. And we today have a very clear target in the undigitized community at the last mile. People who are there who are doing some form of trade but cannot leverage of an open ecosystem, be it artisans, be it programs that you've been engaged with multiple states, one district, one product. So how do you see ONDC opening up the ecosystem? We know we made strides over there, but we'd like to hear from you. And where do you see it going?
Thank you. So let's look at from the world around us. If you look at the physical world, the physical market, you have diverse kind of enterprising coexisting. You have multinational corporation with a global reach, national corporation, MSME, street vendor, all of them part of the network, part of a physical network of market. And each of them have their client base to whom they satisfy the needs. But so that's a very open economy in that sense. Nobody is, except probably in some very close market, nobody is asking for protection money. Whereas when it comes to the digital market, these are walled gardens of certain enterprises providing facility for certain kind of customers to access products of their interest. That's why what you pointed out and what Abhishek had so many times pointed out is that in that walled garden, the penetration, the participation is The buy side 6 to 7%, sell side maybe 2 or 3%. What ONDC as an idea is providing is to bring an open market in that sense, an open network of multiple entities working together, talking the same language. So if I am a seller, I can make my product visible in the network using this protocol. I could be a small seller with an interest in a very small market, and I could be a large corporation with interest across. But once I made myself visible, I have the equal visibility for eventually 1 billion consumers coming from various consumer-facing applications. I don't need to specially tie up with each of them. So that itself is opening up. See, I am in the market, now I am visible to everybody. I don't have to go 10 times. And so if I'm guys with an entity with very heavy ambitions, large product base, etc., I might be serviced by a very large platform. Or if I'm a small enterprise, it might be done by even a platform set up by a philanthropic organization. So equal opportunity. Access to market is being addressed. And now on the other side, you are going to see a lot of innovation in making the relevant product available to the relevant segment. So today, if I have to be offering a digital market, I have to go and tie up with the merchants or service providers. You know, that itself is very expensive and that becomes very restrictive. Tomorrow, let's take the case 2 extreme example. Let's say I'm an enterprise with pretty large digital consumer. I could be a gaming company, I could be a media company, I could be a spirituality enterprise, I could be a fintech, I could be a ride-hailing company, it doesn't matter. I might be having digital consumers. Now, based on the profile of my customer, I can say I can give them adjacencies. Because I don't have to go and tie up with anybody. It's already there. The best example, I'm just giving 2 examples. For example, Ola is a ride-hailing company. They said, okay, I want to help my people to buy food, and tomorrow grocery, and day after tomorrow fashion. In one case, I'll have to go and tie up with everybody. Now it's already available. So when you have unbundled all of them and made them interoperable, it's like giving a Lego block bundle to a set of people. Based on the imagination, they can create the models. And that's why this is creating humongous, if I just summarize, access to market, access to credit, access to skill, access to logistics, a variety of common infrastructural building blocks can be all stitched together for small and big enterprise equally. And that is going to throw open the opportunity humongous. And that is going to enhance a livelihood. And that is going to give opportunity for example, MSME Ministry recently announced, they said they're going to have a special program for MSME to leverage network. You saw some philanthropic organization committing that I'll help the network to leverage the market to enhance the livelihood of women entrepreneurs. So I'm just throwing open the opportunities. So sorry, and let's take it to the next level.
No, sounds very exciting, Koshy, and more power to ONDC. But Amitabh, coming to you, I think when we talk about tech enablement, one of the biggest challenges, and for long we talked about financial literacy initially, about people knowing what savings habit is. India has always been a good saving economy, yes, but now we talk about investments, pension, other areas, that's what we want to layer on top of it. But the other big area which remains a challenge is digital literacy. In a country with so many recognized languages and hundreds of dialects, we are talking about a very multilingual and diverse set of people out there, and they are now also adopting technology. Most of our tech thinking is always in English, or we are talking about 1 or 2 languages. So from the point where you are sitting, how do you think and how can we build technology that transcends the language barriers? Something we even spoke about during lunch about, how do you get multiple people to consume the same information, but also about using tech. So we'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, sure. Of course, our National Language Translation Mission, which is primary motive of this mission is to transcend the language barrier. And we are working on artificial intelligence technology to actually build models which will translate one language to other. And we are tackling the 22 languages first. The problem statements we are addressing is automatic speech recognition. That means computer should be able to recognize the speech, what we are speaking. Then the second part of it is text-to-text translation. That means computer should be able to translate one language encoded to other. Then computer should be able to speak out the language which is encoded. So that is text-to-speech. So you have the complete pipeline of automatic speech recognition, text-to-text and text-to-speech done. And then also we have printed a lot of things which are actually not recognizable as digital content, but as pictures. So optical character recognition is the other problem which we are trying to solve. And we have already solved the text-to-text problem in all the 22 languages. In speech, we are 12 right now, and we will soon be touching the 22 as we go by. And as you said, you know, when we are basically looking at this particular aspect, the voice-first enablement also means that we are in a position to not only bridge the digital divide, but also the literacy divide. Because now the computer or the machine can speak what machine wants to do, or you want the machine to do. It can understand you as well. So from that perspective, you are in a position to actually communicate with the people who don't even, who are on the other side of the literacy divide, or who are on the other side of the digital divide. So I think this particular part has already started making a difference. We currently, there is a Kisan e-Mitra chatbot which has been created, where, when PM transfers the tranche of money under PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, the farmer can ask whether, if he has not received the money, he can ask, "Mera bhugtan nahi hua," and the chatbot would be able to answer in the language which he has asked. Ki aapka bhugtan isliye nahi hua kyunki Aadhaar aapka link nahi hai, ya any of these things. Similarly, when we are looking at RBI, incidentally, this was launched last year only, and it has been progressing quite well. Farmers have their land records digitally in the state's databases, which is in vernacular language. And banks generally understand the English language more, maybe Hindi otherwise. And earlier what used to happen, if farmer wanted to have a loan, he used to take those things as a print, get it translated, and then give it to the banks for the loan. Now the system can actually, this was meaning about 10,000-15,000 rupees and about 1 or 2 months when he used to go around to figure out whom to get it translated. And sometimes the translation was also wrong and he had to go back again. Now the system transliterates using the Bhashini. It pulls the record from the state account, transliterates and gives it to the bank. And this all happens digitally. So theoretically, you are in a position to give the loan in a day if every document and the credentials are all right in the sense. So these are 2 use cases where we are using it, and there are 10 more which, we can discuss over whenever we are having time. But the fact of the matter is that financial literacy, digital literacy, all of this were crying for the last mile connect to the people who did not know English and who also did not know how to read and write. And that was also a reason for many of the frauds, etc., which was happening.
No, thanks, Amitabh. And I think it actually flips the point. We used to talk about digital literacy. Now we are teaching the machines to learn to talk to people. So there was machine learning, which was pretty much the lingo we used to use. But I think now with artificial intelligence, we can have an entire panel on that. But I'll circle back to you, Mr. Singh. You've been actively involved in that from a government perspective. Today, both private enterprise, government enterprise, they are all seized with looking at the potential of AI, especially with the large language models coming. And now it's virtually as easy to talk to a machine as it is to a person. So Bhashini itself is a great example of a conversational AI experience. How do you see AI as an enabler for DPIs? And equally important, your thoughts on something you very passionately look at is on AI governance, because it can go wrong and it can go wrong seriously. So request your comments on both.
See, we all are aware of the buzz around AI and the hype cycle and how AI we all have been started using. Though AI has been around for a long, long time, but especially with the launch of chatbots, especially ChatGPT and Meta AI and all coming, all of us are experiencing real hand with regard to what all AI can do. So given that, and given the advancement in the compute that is available today, the amount of data set that we are available today, AI has a huge potential to add a layer over the DPI that we have. Because as Amitabh was mentioning, he gave the example of farmers, how farmers can talk to about their queries to a chatbot and in their own language and get reply back. So one key challenge that we have as a nation, like we always take pride that 940 million people are connected to the internet in India. But when we say that, we also realize that 500 million people are not connected. We are a huge country. And for them to get connected to e-services, for them to access, to leverage the benefits of DPIs, they will need services in Indian languages. And more importantly, they will need voice-enabled services. To that extent, AI plays a big role. And like, for example, if somebody wants to talk to a doctor, like if I have these symptoms, what should I do? He should be able to talk to do that conversation in his own language over voice with a low-cost phone on a toll-free number. It doesn't even need a smartphone to do that. Similarly, if a farmer wants to know something about the prices of a particular crop in the local mandi, or with regard to what he should do if his crop is suffering from that, or where to buy products on ONDC, he should be able to call up a number and be able to do that on voice, and all that will be enabled by AI. The second big problem which AI can solve is, especially in healthcare, is that very often we know that we have a shortage of specialist doctors across the country. So AI has known to play a big role in disease diagnosis. Like we have community health centers in blocks who have X-ray machines, but they don't have qualified radiologists. But there are AI solutions today which can read an X-ray machine and predict to a very high accuracy with regard to a person having tuberculosis or not. So such solutions can be deployed at scale across the country and make people get access to healthcare. Similarly, when you look at education, we have built platforms like Diksha and Swayam, which is giving online education to students. But building a layer of AI on it can help create personalized learning plans for students who can benefit from that. Similarly, the entire financial sectors, and this is the GFF, and all of you would be thinking more in terms of financial services and all, for fraud prevention, for analysis of data which is emanating from various sources. AI can play a big, big role. So the India AI mission, as many of you would be aware, is already taken several steps in this direction. We got the approval for more than 10,000 crores this March, and we have launched India AI Innovation Challenge, in which around 14 problem statements have been given for startups to build solutions to that. And there is a prize money, and more important than the prize money, there is a plan to scale up these solutions and deploy. And what we feel is that if AI solutions which are developed in India and they are deployed in India, and if they work in our country with our huge size and magnitude, then the same solutions can be deployed all across. Honorable Prime Minister mentioned about how our DPI is being shared to the other countries across. So similarly, our AI-based solutions can be given to all and beyond. You also asked me about the AI governance. So while it's true that AI has a huge potential and we are kind of building solutions with the help of startups and with the help of India's AI researchers, but at the same time, we are also aware of the AI governance framework. In fact, this morning, Honorable PM also mentioned about the need of a global framework for governance of AI. So we are part of GPA, the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence. We are actually chairing it this year. We had the summit last December, and we are in conversations with the entire global community for building up a global governance framework for AI, which will help ensuring that basic regulation is there without killing innovation, which will ensure that we look at it from the point of view of user harm, from the point of view of preventing deep fakes and misinformation, and ensuring that while we leverage the benefits of AI, at the same time we are mindful of the harms that can occur and build sufficient guardrails and protection mechanisms to ensure that user harm is prevented. So that's the thing about AI governance.
Thank you so much. No, I think, and what you said is right. When we look at any of the DPIs today we are embedding a lot of AI into it. With Koshy, we are working on putting the app layer where you're talking about buyers and sellers and how they can have conversational journeys which cut through a lot of complexity, right from onboarding to catalog creation to other frontiers, which get resolved through that. So Koshy, one question to you. I see today ONDC has gone into multiple categories. So one is exactly the commerce category, but then there is movement into open finance. We are looking at other areas. So what is the next frontier? And any global sort of view to say enabling global trade, looking at cross-border trade, any thoughts on that? I'd like to hear from you.
See, as you would have often heard me speaking, the vision and ambition of ONDC that every catalogable product or service should be available on the network through using this protocol. And different buying application will come and help their buyers to buy whatever that is relevant. So what we are helping is to help the diverse set of buying applications from India, from various segments, from media to gaming companies to international organizations to become a part of this network. And I'm sure with what the AI and the Bhashini two together will give a lot of power to independent enterprises to make unique solution, because ONDC allow large number of people to work together in collaboration, not just wall gardens. I think the time is up, so I will rather not proceed much. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, sure. So, Amitabh, something you'd like to add to that? Bhashini as an LLM, I know we are running out of time, but interesting topic, wanted to hear from you also.
Yeah, just a small thing in this, when we are looking at any of the translation or AI system, it would take its time to learn. Yes, we can fasten the learning by using machines, by using GPUs and power, but we still need to collect data. A few of examples could be that when we started to work upon Rail Madad, we needed to build the glossary of the trains, right? The train has built the glossary of all the stations. About 20,000 of them had to be built in, which you will perhaps not find in the normal course of LLMs or any other thing. When we working with Ministry of Panchayati Raj, we had to build up the glossary of 2.7 lakh panchayats who are there in the country. So, there is a learning which we are having with every day, with every customer we go. And we are, celebrating the uniqueness of India and the diversity of India by incorporating them into the machines. So yes, there's a lot of hard work which is ahead of us.
So thank you very much. Thanks to the panel. I know we are running out of time, so we won't have any Q&A, but happy to meet the people on the sidelines. So thank you very much.